I got the most awesome gift. This is called the Weiser Tarot, and it was gifted to me from the Weiser Publishing Company for the purposes of doing an honest review. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to take a look at this deck. I'm very excited about this deck because everybody that knows me knows I'm not really a fan of the Rider-Waite Smith deck. But this is a recreation, a reworking, if you will, of that deck. So I'm very excited about that. I'm thinking that I might actually love this deck. So we're getting ready to find out. So guys, underneath this video, I'm going to put at the very top the link to purchase this at, let me see, what is it? redwillweiser.com. I'm going to put the exact link directly underneath here. And also, I'm going to put the link to my mat, this beautiful mat that is underneath here. This is from the Ascension Life brand. It is a phoenix. I know you guys can't really see that, but that's a phoenix wing. And I just love the color, and it's beautiful. I love that company. I have collabed with them to do a bunch of different fun things for the next few months. And if you want to check out the merch and the artwork, please do. Alright, time for us to get started. My name is QueenAusetHeru, and thank you for joining me for another wonderful edition of Ask an Aquarius. If you haven't already, please hit the red subscribe button and smack the bell. Also, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and pass it on to anyone and everyone who may like it too. If you would like to get a reading done, please email me or hit me up on social media. All of my information is going to be underneath this video as well. Let's get started. So you can see the top of it. We can already see it's different. We see some brown people here. And the original Rider-Waite Smith is based off of, I think, Italian. The Italian people. So they're all, okay, they look Italian, you know. And this doesn't look that way. It looks like there's different body colors here. So that's going to be interesting. The first thing I notice immediately is that this box is nice and hard. I love this box. It has the cool finger holes, illustrations on the inside. And if you take a look on the sides of here, that's cool. They have some of the cards printed all over it. That's really decent. And very smart marketing because it gives you a chance to see that there are some major changes in this deck. So that's going to be interesting. When you first open it, it looks like this. When you take out the guidebook, here's our guidebook. And I'm just going to flip through it real quick to show you. There's some spreads. You know, I always look for spreads. Spreads are in the back. Okay. It's very basic. It's not a lot of information. It's black and white. And it's adequate for a beginner to be able to use it right out the box. So that's perfect. Oh, I love this. I had that tattooed on my arm. It's the Ankh, the symbol for life from ancient Kemet. Awesome. All right, now we're going to get the cards out. Well, the first thing I'm going to show you is this, right? Before we even get into the beautiful artwork, I want to show you the back of the card. So this is the back of the card. The Ankh is all over it. Yes, representation of life. Let's see it. Some people will say life. They'll say fertility. They'll say protection. All of those kinds of energies come up with the Ankh. So that's really beautiful. I love to see that all over like that. So the first thing that you notice is that it is the same size and length of a standard size tarot card. So that's cool. Perfect. Flip it around. This is the Fool. Let's pull the Fool to us. Okay, Fool. Okay. The first thing I noticed about the artwork is that it looks kind of watercolory, which I'm here for. I like that. Let's see. What do we think about this card stock? Let's pluck it. Nice snapback. Very nice. These are going to shuffle nice. It's not too thick, as you can see. It's not overly thin either. I have much thinner cards than this. So it's not too thick. It's not too thin. It's a great quality for the card stock. Now let's take a look. Oh, okay. All right. Immediately, I love the brightness. The colors are drawing me in. And the Magician, the first thing I notice is our Magician is of color. So let's just deal with the elephant in the room. The original Rider-Waite has no people of color. And most of you already know that. I don't think it's any. I don't think it's any at all. So most of you already know that. But this seems to change that. It seems to be the same images we're used to. The magician looks exactly the same. He has his wand in his hand. He has everything he needs on his table. So he's exactly the same. He's just brown. And of course, you know, we don't know what kind of brown. I like that too, because we don't know where they're from. Like, she could be from India. She could be African American. She could be from Canada. I mean, we have no idea, but they've infused some people of color, is my point. And I love that. But not just the people of color, they've infused much brighter, happier colors here. Like the pomegranates in the background. You know, in the original Rider-Waite Smith, the colors don't really grab me. They don't really pop out to me like that. So that's a big difference too. So we see these popping colors, and we see some people of color. So immediately, I am very drawn to this. See, this is a Rider-Waite Smith deck that I'm going to keep. Isn't that something? I sold the other one. I sold the other one. But I would definitely keep this. And I would teach off of this too. This is a great teaching deck. If you're somebody who's teaching your friend, your sister, your child, or, you know, a class, this is a great deck to learn off of. Because if you can read this deck, Rider-Waite Smith base deck, you can read any other deck that's based off of Rider-Waite Smith. And almost all of them are. Especially these modern decks. They're either based off Rider-Waite Smith or they're based off of the Thoth deck. Some are based off the Marseille as well. Those are the three standards. So those are what you see the most. So those particular ones, if you can read that deck, you can read the ones that are based on that deck in most cases. And I like this. Look at that. All three of them seem to be of European descent. We can't really tell with the angel, possibly, yeah. But all three of them seem to be of European descent, but they're all different colors. You know, the angel's really, really pale, and then the girl is kind of pinkish, and then the guy is kind of tan. So again, that diversity, that color diversity. What I'm not seeing changed so far, I was looking for some age diversity. I don't see a lot of that. The Rider-Waite Smith mostly has younger people, and it seems to be continuing that in this particular deck. There are enough old people in it, though, that I'm pleased, because we're getting ready to see the Hermit, and the Hermit looks great. But that's pretty much the standard. A lot of modern decks do change that, though. A lot of modern decks play with the ages a little bit more in the decks. The Rider-Waite Smith is mostly young people. Then you have an older person, a kid here and there, stuff like that. So that's pretty much the same. What do you guys think of the watercolor type nature of the actual illustrations themselves? Because I like that a lot. I like that choice. I think that was a fun choice to make. It makes it look more dreamy to me. These are our Justice card. Yeah, so as you can see, these images, even though they have, you know, spruced them up a bit, they're very, very easy to read. And then if you look at the bottom, interestingly enough, look at the bottom. There's images there. I don't know what these are. I know this one here, that I think is Neptune. And then there's one here too. So you got those images in here as well. And those add to the card. Now when we're finished, I'm trying to see where I put the guidebook. It's right here. When we're finished, we're going to look up one and see if they talk about it. This is Scorpio. That's my daughter's. That's Scorpio. So these are going to be planets, zodiac signs. Every card has an association with a different zodiac sign. So I'm thinking that that's what this is. So this would have to be Sagittarius. I'll know for sure when I get to Capricorn, because Capricorn is the devil. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, definitely. So each of the major arcana and the minor arcana are associated with a different zodiac sign. You get planetary associations and things. So it was cool for them to put that down there. But the other symbol that's on the left, we're going to look up, because I don't remember what those are. And there's also another symbol in here, but I think that must be the artist's signature, because you see this, that little black squiggly, you see that in every single one. I love how the star has blue hair. One of the colors for Aquarius is like this kind of aquamarine blue, and I love that color. The star is always Aquarius. Happy Aquarius season to my Aquarius and to my non-Aquarius as well. This is our season until February, what, the 19th, I think it is. So I hope you're all taking good care of yourself. Like Miley Cyrus said, buy yourself flowers. Or maybe if you're in a relationship or have loved ones around you, maybe they'll buy you flowers. Either way, get those flowers. Get some sunflowers, the sun card says. So again, here we have those beautiful colors. I love the changes they've made to this. The changes they made are great. It's like they just added more diversity to it and better coloring. I'm still not seeing a lot. Remember we talked about the older people. I'm also not seeing a lot of larger people. And this is something that I've seen a lot lately. Body types. I've seen a lot of the cars changing the body types. So that is something I'm definitely enjoying. I'm not really seeing a lot of that here. But the changes that I am seeing, like look at her hand. I guess it's a her. I'm thinking, I don't know. Now I don't even know, is it him or her, but somebody's hand. So I'm liking the changes that I am seeing. Yeah, I'm definitely going to keep this. I am definitely going to keep this. So if you're making a tarot deck right now, I would say be as diverse as you possibly can, even if you're only doing one particular culture. For example, if you're doing Indian culture, make sure you get different examples, like different colors, different shades, different heights, different weights, different ages. There's so much diversity even inside of one culture, you know. So don't just, you know, take pictures of one type of individual, you know, show the variety in that. This is cool. I like this a lot. I like this little brown guy's stance, or I can't tell if it's a guy or a girl. They have on skirts, and I know that in certain cultures that it doesn't matter what your gender is. Like for instance, in Scotland with the kilt, I think the men wear those. So I don't know if that's a skirt or his. I don't know what that is. I can't tell, but I do love that. I love the stance, the little attitude he has. And see, something like this, you know, I'm more likely to actually use. Remember, I talked about it being a good teaching tool. All of the books that I have on tarot are based on the writer Waite Smith. So many of the books that you would get, like for instance, one of my favorites is Tarot Reversals by Mary K. Greer. And all of the pictures, the illustrations that she uses to do interpretations in the book, they're all based on the writer Waite Smith. So if you're using books like that, these images are going to line up perfectly. Because even though the coloring has changed, the stance hasn't changed. The backgrounds in many cases are very similar. So you're still going to be able to get a good amount of use with this deck. And then the other thing about this deck is you can pretty much use this deck with any client. If you're somebody who has clients, you can use this with clients of pretty much any culture, because anybody can see themselves. You know, you don't, like I said before, when we don't have a specific culture, anybody can see their own culture here. This man could be Costa Rican, Argentinian, you know, African, you know, we would have no idea. So I love that aspect of it. It just opens it up to be a more universal system. And like I said, you know, when you sit down with your clients, I noticed that, you know, when I first started taking clients, it was in person. Now I do all my clients on the phone or on the internet. But when I first started, it was in person. And I remember the surprise and the delight of people when I would use cards that had diversity. A lot of these people had had many readings before, you know, from other people, and they had never seen that before. You know, everybody was using, you know, at that time when I first started, it was a long time ago. So most people were using the same type of cards, and they didn't have many people of color in them unless you had like Daughters of the Moon Tarot or Gaian Tarot or something like that. But most of them, you didn't see yourself. So my clients were of all types of cultures and nationalities and ages, and they would come to me, and they would just be like looking at the images, and I'd be like, what? And they'd be like, I can't believe there's people of color in this picture. And I'm like, yeah. I remember a guy, he was staring at my cards. He's a very Afrocentric guy, and I had this African deck because I knew he was coming that day. So I pulled out one of my African decks. It's called the Itango Tarot, and it's from South Africa. And I pulled it out and I put it on the table, and his eyes got big, and he said, that is magnificent. I'll never forget that. The top card was up, and it was the King of Wands, and he looked so regal. African guy, he looked really regal, and I remember the look on his face. I could see such a like he saw himself in that card, and he was like, that's magnificent. And I smiled. So after that, I always made sure that I had decks that could speak to different people, different cultures, different genders, different different things they're into, hobbies. And that's how I ended up with so many decks. I love when I'm working with a client to cater the energy to what the client is like. So that's why, again, I was saying you can use this deck with anybody, any client that you have, or with yourself, or any person, any friend, anybody would see themselves in here. So this is awesome. Wait a minute. Got a little shakage going on. There we go. Page of Cups. I love the page. I love the cup suit in general. Everybody knows that. That's my favorite suit. And they took a lot of liberties with the colors because, like, if you compare these to the traditional Rider-Waite Smith, some of the colors are different. Like, some of the outfits look the same or similar, but then the color is a little different. So that's cool too. King of Cups. Awesome. Now we're going to look at the swords. The colors are really doing it for me. They're really working. Look at the backgrounds. The sky especially. And see, this one has the moon in it. I don't remember if the moon is always in the Two of Swords. That's interesting. Is it nighttime or daytime usually in the Two of Swords? I gotta look that up. That's cool. Yeah, I like the rain with this one. When you get the Three of Swords, that is usually a dark day. So the rain fits that perfectly. I like how you can see the picture on the stained glass. Some of the times you can't see anything in the stained glass. It's just stained glass. But in here we can see a mother and a child, it looks like. I don't know if that's a mother and a child, or it looks like a mother and a child because of the height difference. Yeah, these would be so great to be able to work with, especially like I said with students. You can see so much in these. You can see, look at this. Look at how the woman is huddled over. This looks like a woman. It could be a man. But see how the person is huddled over themselves? Like, you can clearly see they've been through something. And it looks like they're getting taken to safety. That's the energy I get from that. It reminds me of all, remember when we saw Titanic and Rose, after they had saved her, she had that blanket over her just like that. It reminds me of that moment of being taken to safety, that moment of being rescued. So I like that. The Six of Swords is all about moving on to better times. So that image just then stood out to me. Okay. And they feel, let me show you, they're not too glossy. They just have a little something. They feel good to the hand. Again, that's going to help with the ability to shuffle. So that's a good thing too. Now the court cards don't have And at the bottoms, remember a lot of them had those little symbols at the bottom. I see them throughout the major arcana. They are not on any of the other cards. And there are correspondences for all of the cards, but they're not on here. So for this, you're only going to get the zodiac correspondences on the 22 major arcana, not on the other cards. Which is fine, but if you study long enough, you'll find, and some of you already know, you found that there was correspondences for all of them. Like this here is the Queen of Swords. I get this card all the time. This card is often associated with a woman who is an air sign. So Gemini, Aquarius, Libra. And this would be the masculine of that. Gemini, Aquarius, Libra, male. So swords has to do with the intellect. And so it's always going to be the air signs. Thoughts, intellect, things like that. Pentacles, we have the earth, money, material things. Alright, this looks pretty good. Okay. I like the green. In the background of all of this, we have this green color. So it seems like they're keeping this theme of color, because I saw the indigo color with the swords. And now we're looking at this green color. Did the wands have a color? Let me see. Let's go back for a second. The wands had a kind of orange color. The cups had a bluish color. The swords has indigo. Okay, and so pentacles here has green. Makes sense. So these colors are corresponding to the suit. So again, more of that use of color. They did a good job with the use of color across the board, using it in the backgrounds, using it, you know, changing up the people's colors, changing up the colors of different things. That was really the great choices. I like this. I like this a lot. If it had more, remember I talked about the age and body diversity, it would be perfect. If it had just a little bit more of that, I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10. If it had that, it would be a 10 out of 10. Guaranteed. I think this is great, like I said before, for collectors too. So beginners can use this right out the box. But if you're a collector, I think this is good. Because many of the collectors have the original Rider-Waite. So I think it's kind of cool to be able to look at this, in my opinion, improved version. We got a little old man in the back. I love me an old man. He's right there. The Ten of Pentacles usually does have an elder, though. So you usually do see an elder in the Ten of Pentacles and in the Hermit. If you don't see it nowhere else, those two places usually have it. And the Nine of Cups is usually a bigger person. Which I always, you know, associate with having much and being opulent. So if you look at the Nine of Cups in a lot of decks, you'll see that it's a chubby person sometimes. A guy, even a woman sometimes. But usually it's a bigger person. Like they have opulence and, you know, that kind of thing. And that's our king. Right? All right. Alright, I said that I wanted to find out what this symbol is. So let's find out what the name of the symbol is. We're going to take a look at the Fool, since these are only on the major arcana. Where are you, Fool? I want to see if they give us an early history of the tarot, which is perfect. So anybody who wants to know more about it, they talk a little bit about how the Weiser tarot was created. Then they talk about your tarot journey, reading the tarot, and then we get to the card meanings. It does not tell us what those little symbols are. So you're going to have to do further research if you want to know, because I do not see them at all in here. They're very common though. Like I said, the zodiac ones are very commonly put on cards. And I've seen the other ones too. I'm drawing a blank as to what the name of them is. And of course we saw the spread. Oh, there's an Ankh spread. Look at the Ankh spread. I gotta try that one. That's cool. A lot of cards to that one. Probably get a lot of information from that. That's really cool. Yeah, but those symbols are not there. So if you want to know what these little symbols are to the left, you're going to have to do some more research. But these over here are going to be all planets and zodiac signs from what it looks like to me. So if you go into Google, you can type in what is it, symbol for planets and symbols for zodiac signs, and Google will give them to you. So that's cool. They give you something to study. These would be cool to do a study on. That's great. But in the meantime, for those of you who are learning, you don't really need that information. All you need to know is what the card means, and they do give an adequate. It's a very short meaning for each card. It's not long at all. So if you're a beginner, it'll be enough to do a reading if you're just using the cards in the upright, because there's no reversals here either. So it'll be enough to do a reading here. And if you want to go deeper, you're going to have to get another book. Remember, I recommended the Tarot Reversals by Mary K. Greer. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. Underneath this video, if you want to get this deck and you love it as much as I do, it's going to be the link. So please check it out. And thank you to the good people over at Redwill Weiser Publishing. This was a beautiful gift and I really enjoy it. You gave me a new love for the writer Waite Smith, and I am eternally grateful. Thank you. You guys come back soon because I got a lot more to say. See you later.